In this video, we're gonna go over how maybe trying to get all your body fat off in one go isn't ideal. So if you're struggling to get that stubborn belly fat off, or you're a person that starts, then stops, then starts, then stops, this video will be a belter for you because it can get you lean enough to a position where you'd be shoot lean. And it goes against what a lot of people think. And the proof is, I've done this with hundreds of clients over the last 10 years and myself, because this is an individualized process. You have to balance it off the person. You have to play the game, but you also know how to play the man, like depending on what that person needs at that time period in their life. Here's something no one tells you about fat loss. Trying to lose all your fat in one diet is brutal. I've done that whenever I was 18, 22, 25. It's a hard stint. I've done it for shows, shoots. I've even done it with clients when they want it for their weddings or whatever's needed. It works for a lot of people, but not everyone. And one thing is too, you can get results fast, you can get shredded, but it can also lead to rebounding, which usually can happen quite often if you're not in a controlled environment and have accountability. So when you try to do it all in one go, you can get it all off, but you can end up yo-yoing. And whenever you give up, you feel like a failure, then you end up feeling guilty, want to either stay away from fitness, you can end up looping back around. It just creates like this negative feedback loop that the only way you can get to that end goal is by like restricting yourself so hard that you almost hate your life, and that's not what I want. You can drop the body fat, and regardless of what you hear online now and people preaching balance, you can stay pretty much shoot lean year round with no stress if you do it correctly in the first place. And I'm going to show you in this video how to do it. Like, trust me on this. I've been big Tony, like 103 kilos, was like 230 pounds. And I've been small Tony, like 75 kilos, and everything in between. I've made every single mistake you can make in fitness, so you'll just learn from my lessons. This will change how you think about fat loss forever. I guarantee. It's been a game changer for me. So without further ado, let's dive into this bad boy. So the one diet trap is the first thing I want to go over. Here's how most people do it. They wake up one day, they actually get the motivation, and they go for it. They don't like what they see in the mirror, and they go, I'm going all in. And I respect it. I absolutely love it. Anybody willing to make a change in their life and actually commit to it and follow it through, I think deserves more praise than anything. Most people don't stick to their word, and that makes a massive difference. But the problem is they go full psycho mode. They go like your ex-girlfriend after you tell her, you know, you're blocking her number, and then she starts ringing you from a different number. It's not a good vibe. Not personal experience there, but man, that happens. They didn't see it. Look, story time I usually give stuff, but what they do is they go pure psycho. Massive calorie cuts, no carbs, they train every day, no alcohol, no takeaways. It's no real life. It's no life in comparison to life you used to live or want to live. And at first, it does work. The scales drop, you look better, you feel like a weapon. You're in monk mode. But do you want to live like a monk for the rest of your life? Me personally, no sex, no takeaways. I assume monks can't have takeaways, but like, Joe, there's a balance. And in the end, week 3 or 4 hits usually. If you make 10 weeks, fair play. They're starving, they're tired, they're miserable. Their friends are putting up stories on Instagram of them in the pub. They're seeing pizza in the office, snacks they want, and it just makes you go, is it really worth it? Even whenever you are lean enough. So it's really important that we get the thought process down right from the get-go, that we need to build an approach that's going to make this not only get you in good shape, but you can also hold long term. I think sustainability is a buzzword now that people like to throw around as a coach that doesn't get results. They're like, that isn't sustainable, because you just don't know how to get it sustainably. A really good example is, and I'm not picking anyone out, it's happened to me before. I've seen people do it. I've had talks with people about it that came on with me. They're like, I don't want to do a shoot that's not sustainable. I'm like, there's no problem. You don't have to. But you can hold that shape really easily sustainable once you're there. I think there's this spell of like, you see people who do a photo shoot, they were starved into it, and then they rebound, they become a coach, and they preach balance. And what I want to highlight is, it's one of these very individualized processes, but I feel like an individual like that never mastered the diet or the build-up calorie phase, because you could be shoot lean like I am right now. I'm not too sure. If I show you my abs, I'm on about 2,700 calories. Like, I'm not shredded, but I'm not fat like by any means. Like, I can hold this in 2,650. So tell me how that's not sustainable. Like 2,600, 2,700 calories with abs, it's not. Versus if you are starved into it, you're going to struggle to hold it because cravings are so high. You haven't done it right. You haven't got homeostasis. So we'll break all that down. The funny thing is too, if you go psycho, high cardio, high steps, low food, you are getting pounded in the ground, and eventually most people crack. They have a cheat meal, it turns into a cheat week, turns into a cheat month, a year, and the weight comes back even if you got it all off. And sometimes even more, because it's one of these things where you end up building really bad habits then of binge and restriction. It's hard to get under control. Look, I'm not preaching. I'm just here to help because I've done all this. I'm not going to preach something that's unsustainable. That's not what I do. I think the word balance is often overused, but in reality, we need something that is like a balance that you want in your life, not just the buzzword. So I personally use this approach, and I find it really beneficial beneficial. And I've used this for my most recent diet. Depending on the client, we will implement this. Some clients, we tend to go harder. Some people, we go softer. It really depends on the individual and what's going on in their life. So look, the main thing I want to address here is your body does not want to lose fat quickly. Your body is like a homeostasis. Wherever you usually sit with weight, it will want to sit there because fat is obviously, like, think about it. Way back in olden times, it was good to be seen as fat. It was seen as rich because you could live for a long time without food. It showed wealth. And in reality, that's what it's there for. It's there to keep you alive. When you diet really aggressively like that psycho, you'll notice that you use all the tools in your fat loss toolbox and you can actually not get in your goal weight where you want to get. Your cardio is as high as it can go. Your steps are as high as it can go. Food is as low as it can go. And hunger hormones ramp up the longer you're dieting harder. So the likes of ghrelin, you're now hungrier. You're now craving more foods. Your energy is lower than ever. And from a body perspective, you're also like, I still have more to go, but I have no more tools in my toolbox because I threw the entire kitchen sink at it, like straight away. So your body essentially, like, and as you lose fat, it gets harder over time. So you have to be very tactical with your adjustments and how you increase your steps, cardio. And I can run you through all this if you want a step-by-step guide on how to adjust your calories, find them out, and know how to tweak them exactly to get results. Just DM me the word calories on Instagram, Facebook, any social media platform, and I'll send you for a step-by-step guide. I've also got it in other videos here. But what I personally notice is that in the short term, you lose fat, but in the long term, you can never keep it off because you've done this like in a very aggressive way and you've used the toolbox, like the tools in the toolbox without really thinking about it. You're not weak, like, and I think it just creates this, like, you have to go all in all the time, whereas you can just dial it up. Like if you start dieting with like a 2 out of 10, turn it to a 3 when you stop losing weight, then a 4, then a 5, you dial it up. That's the way you adjust rather than drilling yourself into the ground. So how I've done it is I went 93 kilos. I should be able to lower photos. I went down to 83, back up to 86, and then back down to 79. And that's where I finished my diet and where I am roughly now, 79, 80 kilos. So in total, it's like 13 kilos off. It's about 30 pounds. So I took the first 22 off, went back up 4 or 5, and then dropped the rest. So let's break down why we done this and the most important part. So when I started the year, I was around 92 kilos, like 200 pounds, bit fluffy, not awful, in okay shape, but not where I really wanted to be. I had just finished a gaining phase, but probably was a bit too lenient. So what I done was an initial diet phase. I sort of call it like a primer. High protein, solid training, reasonable deficit, adjusting calories as I stalled out. So end up like 92 to like 83-ish. So it's quite a lot of weight, like 9, 10 kilos off. Looked good, but mentally my life was picking up with socializing. It was coming into summer. It just wasn't suiting. And I was like, to get leaner now, I'm also very hungry. My cravings are quite high. My calories are low. My steps are high. My cardio is high. I was like, I'm turning into that Psycho X and I wanted my life back. So instead of forcing to get shredded to the core where I wanted to be, I just took a break and brought my calories up to maintenance. Like I do this all the time. And as bringing my calories back up slow and steady up towards maintenance, like I just adjust them steadily back up. I gained a little bit of water weight back in the form of carbohydrates because for every gram of carbs you eat, you will hold about 2 to 3 grams of water. So naturally you'll gain a pound or 2 back of water weight, but your muscles will fill out. You'll actually look leaner initially. And this can also give you like a, I'm getting leaner as I'm getting heavier look, but most people can't cope with that mentally. But just realize like I didn't gain 3 pounds of muscle or fullness, but I probably gained a pound or 2 of that and then a couple pound of body fat. But what this allowed me to do is allowed my hunger hormones to reset, bring my cardio down, my steps down, and my food up. So essentially it was like reloading my gun. And I don't give up. It's just a different strategy because I was like, this will balance it and I can still hold a nice shape without rebounding or going too deep that I don't like enjoy my life. Because it was getting to the stage of that diet phase, I was sort of getting like a hard on over a tub of Haagen-Dazs salted caramel. So I knew that like this was going to turn into what felt like a show prep. So I done something different and it worked really well. Whenever I brought myself up to them calories, I'd done it for about 12 weeks. And the problem is most people don't have the key ingredient that you need here. Patience. Because I only gained like 3 kg in like 12 weeks. So what is that, like 7 pounds? Like I didn't even gain a pound a week. And I held in at the 12-week mark for a couple more weeks because it didn't suit. And I didn't panic that it's all coming back. But I knew what was happening. Like I knew that the goal of this phase was to hold as low as I could while building my calories up and giving me almost all the bullets back in my gun. More food in, more water weight. But I also got better sessions. I also got stronger. I do feel like I looked better during this phase. And I noticed that after the 8 weeks of this, my hunger dropped and I just felt way, way better. It felt like my test levels were more in check because I've been dieting so long. It also allowed me to have some like meals out, more socializing. I went on holidays. I spent time with friends, family. Like I had a life. It felt like I recovered to an extent mentally and physically. And the hunger faded. It was just an all around great move. Then what I simply done was I went back to dieting from that point after about 12 weeks. And in about, no joke, about 8 weeks, I ripped off like another 6 kilos really easily. I went a bit more aggressive because I knew I just wanted to get to around 80 kilos. So it allowed me to get that extra 3 or 4 kilos without hating my life. Now, am I saying that's right for you? But the funny thing is now, after doing that and then building my calories back up, I'm now 80 kilograms on about 2,700 calories, which isn't a mile away from where my calories were at 92. I was probably only on like 3,200. Like, not a big difference. Maybe 3,300. Now I'm like 12, 13 kilos down, leaner, stronger, and on high calories. So I can hold like my condition like pretty much year round like this easy. And I can just repeat this process and keep getting leaner. So it's actually a really good approach. The problem is most people just don't want to give it the time. I'm going to drop the photos if I haven't already, just so you can get a full breakdown. So pretty much starting off 92, 93, drop 10 kilos, back up 2 to 3 kilos, and then down a further 6. So it worked absolute wonders. Really smart approach. You can also do this where I've seen people that diet 4, 6, 8 weeks, and then they take 2-week diet breaks. But I prefer just to go, I'm dieting now for a block, I'm out of dieting, back in, and it just creates a better balanced lifestyle. And now I probably won't diet because I'll probably not diet for about 12 to 14 months now. I'll just steadily increase calories, or I'll hold when needed. And it puts you in a really good position because you can let fitness complement your life rather than complicate it. It's almost like strategic recovery. I just want you to imagine that this approach may seem like, oh, well, that's too long for me. There's a reason in the story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise wins the race, even though the hare is faster. My family always say this. My dad always says it to me. So does my mum. And I love it, right? If you want to go fast, go slow. Because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That is the right way to do it. It pretty much teaches you patience. That is pretty much all that does. And I love it. One of the reasons this approach works well is because almost like metabolic adaptation, whenever you go from like 93 kilos, like 200 pounds down to say 180, you're a smaller human. So now you need less food. The hunger picks up. But on top of that, as you're dieting, your body sort of adapts to an extent and the calories no longer become as effective. There is studies to show if you're on like 800 calories starving yourself, you'll continue to lose weight, but nobody wants that life. And the problem is you're on 1800 calories, you want to lose more fat, you have to go to 1600. You have to increase cardio, increase steps. You're not losing as much for the effort you should be putting in. And that can be so frustrating. Your body's like, okay, cool. We're just running on fumes now. So I'm just going to make you burn less fat because I want to keep the fat. So I think this I don't like the term trick. I just think this works extremely well. And this is where I get these clients and they come to me and they go, I've been on 1200 calories, I've been on 1500 calories, I'm just not losing weight. And then people will go, but you're not in a deficit. And they're like, or you're not tracking correctly. And I'm like, you're probably not in a deficit because your metabolism is regulating around this. There is people who are not tracking correctly, but people just simply saying, you'll lose weight on X calories, don't understand thermodynamics and how. After coaching, probably, I would say, it's got to be over 2,000 people. A lot of bodies work very differently. And you will know that regardless. I know science and studies are there. And like the 800 calorie diet. But whenever you're doing this time on time, a little bit of tweaking with each person, their approach, their lifestyle, and what they want works really well. So the key takeaway really is you should just diet slower and not be afraid to take time periods away from it. Because you can still build muscle and lose the fat. And you'll actually notice your testosterone, your hormones, your metabolism usually sit in a better place. And you just enjoy it a lot more. And what's the point of getting to an end goal if one, you rebound, or two, you don't enjoy it? One key area as well I think people don't think about is the binge restriction, and you only have so much limited willpower, so you really want to be mindful of it. Like 6 to 10 weeks of hard diet, and for most people is really realistic. A 20-week plus diet to get all the body fat off is extremely mentally taxing. You can end up running into brick walls. So there is time periods for this, and we do it with clients, and then there's time periods where it's just too much. It gives the idea that dieting is not forever. Also showing you what your life will be like once the diet is done. You're in a phase. It's for a time period. It's not for life. I think that's really important because this is where this BS with sustainable dieting, your diet should be difficult to an extent. And then the sustainable should be, whenever it's done, sustainably keeping it off. The problem is if you sustainably diet, you'll probably not get it all off. So think about short push, rest, short push, rest usually works very effectively. You can go harder when you know there's a break coming. So if I was you and you wanted to implement this, I would literally think about diet like so. Phase 1, primer. Diet for 6 to 10 weeks. Drop your calories by 300 to 500 for maintenance. Remember, if you need a hand getting your maintenance calories, just DM me the word calorie on Instagram. I'll send you a video guide, everything you need for it. Keep your protein high, train 3 to 4 times a week. Crank your steps up, crank your cardio up. Aim to lose between 0.5 to 1% of your body weight a week. No crazy restrictions, no 1,000 calorie, 1,200 calorie nonsense. And then just adjust, add cardio or steps every week or two after you measure your weight, or drop food if you're not losing enough fat. If you're losing 1%, you're sweet. Then once you hit a sort of a brick wall, take a break. Reverse your calories up for 8 to 10 weeks. It can be as short as 2 to 4, but I think 8 to 10, just as long as you're dieting, is perfect. Bring the calories up to maintenance. Keep your protein training in. Drop your steps. Drop your cardio. Expect your weight to slowly climb, but don't let it go back up to where it was. Stay tight. And don't panic. And then just almost repeat phase 1 as a phase 3. But just just optimize it, tweak what went well. Do you need to diet longer? Do you need to be stricter? Do you need to go harder? Because that will work really effectively for getting you where you want to go. Just don't end up in this process where you lose 10 pounds, then gain it back. You have to go to a point where you're ready to break almost. You can make diet blocks easier, whatever you want. The game is yours. There's not a one size fits all approach. And look, I get it. The approach I took is not a sexy 12-week shred. You want quick, dramatic results now. And I get that. Like, we do programs like that. But at the same time, this gets you the result and keeps you. You'll actually see such a big difference rather than going round in circles for the next 3 years again. Like, stop. It's like, stop. You're making me cry. And I think I wish I had known this sooner, because I would have got and held the shape I wanted, because there's no point getting it if you cannot keep it. What's the point in getting £1 million if you can't keep it? Like, what was the point? It's the same with the body. So just remember, you're not like rocking a movie montage. It doesn't just happen in like 5 minutes and that's the job done. You need to build this in so it's for life. And I think this is a really good approach to get you to that stage that's just not talked about enough. So hopefully you found this a benefit. Like, share, subscribe. If you need anything at all, don't be afraid to drop me a message. It means the world you watch this. See you in the next one. Big love.